And I
Okay.
mean, it's brutal. That just in my opinion, my perspective, I can only speak for the female side of it and what I experienced, but it's really brutal. It doesn't matter. Like you could be the best looking person on stage body wise
Hmm.
and still not win because the judges never seen you before.
You are listening to the No Gimmicks, Just Sweat podcast with your host, Eric Logan. No Gimmicks, Just Sweat is dedicated to hearing the journeys and unique stories behind an athlete's training and what drives them. Get inspired to own your life and make the impossible possible. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Also, please take a few seconds to rate the show and drop me a review. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hello and welcome to this episode of No Gimmicks, Just Sweat. And today we welcome Cardi Davis to the show. Cardi, how are you doing?
I'm doing just great. And thank you for having me. This is I was really looking forward to this, so thank you.
Oh, thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it. So, what we're going to do, as always, we start with icebreaker questions to kind of, think of it as a warm-up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to throw out some questions and you just say the first thing that comes to mind. This allows
Okay.
me to get to know you a little bit better as well as the listeners.
Okay.
All right. Morning training or evening training?
Definitely morning.
Yeah, see, we already seen eye to eye. Morning. Cardio or strength training?
Definitely strength. Just a little sidebar.
Okay.
So that has been like my biggest moving into OCR.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like I'm all into CrossFit, which is mostly strength training. But yeah, like if you give me an option, I'm going right to the barbell.
All right. All right. What's your favorite outdoor activity?
Oh, my favorite outdoor activity? Honestly, I would have to say cycling now, which would have been different pre-pandemic. Yeah.
Okay.
I got into cycling during the pandemic, bought a really expensive bike, and like did like a century ride after purchasing the bike. Like I had it for like 2-3 months and I was like, oh, let's do a century ride. So yeah, I definitely would have to say cycling.
Oh, okay. Okay, you bought a bike and then just immediately said, let's do this ride.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Favorite exercise or form of cross training?
Favorite? You know what? If it's like cross training, I could handle the rower. If it's like my pace.
Okay.
If it's CrossFit's pace is a different story, but if it's my pace, like I don't mind, put my AirPods on and just rowing.
Okay. See, again, eye to eye. All right. What's your least favorite exercise?
Running.
Okay. See, now we were doing so well. We were doing so well till you said running.
And to be more specific, running on the treadmill.
Again, we were doing so well. All right. First thing you do after a workout.
The first thing I do after, I go right to Strava and look at or Garmin and look at my data.
Oh, okay. Most people generally say like a meal or something, but go to Strava. Okay. All right. Dream race or event you want to participate in, and that can be anywhere in the world.
I want to do a trifecta in Hawaii, a Spartan trifecta in Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
It probably won't happen until 2023, which is fine, but yeah.
Okay. You can kind of elaborate on that later on. Because I was like, okay, what's that? Okay. All right. Last one. If you can train with any athlete or celebrity, dead or alive, who would it be?
David Goggins.
Oh, okay. Okay. What's your reason why? Why David?
Well, first off, I would envision us running, which I told you that's my least favorite thing. But if I run with him, I probably enjoy it because he's so motivational. And like, I like him because he's like hardcore motivation. Like, you just got to get out there and do it kind of thing. And a lot of times that's like, I react to stuff like that. Like, I don't really react to, oh, that's fine, Cardi, or, oh, good job next time. No, it's like, move your ass. Like, that's what I react to. So yeah, definitely David Goggins, definitely.
Okay. All right. So, Cardi, let's find out, how did you get to be the athlete that you are today? As always, I always tell people to think of it as your origin story. You're a superhero. Every superhero has an origin story of how they got their powers. How did you get to be who you are?
Well, a lot of it had to do with my childhood. I have an older brother. He's 4 years older than I am, and I had to do what he did. He was basically my babysitter.
Okay.
So I grew up as a tomboy, and I did, backyard sports. Football, basketball, wiffle ball, kickball, running. So I did that, and then I became like an official athlete in middle school. I usually don't tell people this, but I'll tell you. So my first organized sport was competitive cheerleading.
Okay.
I did it for 2 years and I hated it.
Okay. Well, why did you hate it?
First and foremost, I grew up as a tomboy.
Right.
I did not want to wear a skirt. And I wanted to be on the football field with the players, not cheering for them.
Okay.
Yeah. However, when we went to these competitions and did like our cheer routine and our dance routine, that part I did enjoy.
Okay.
But when we were like cheering at games, I really didn't want to be there. I wanted to be out on the field with the guys.
So you were a true tomboy.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then I also did bowling.
Okay.
I was on a bowling league, and then in 7th grade I tried out for basketball. So that's when I started, evolving as an athlete. And then in high school, I ran track for a year, but I didn't go back out because the coach didn't allow me to do the events that I wanted to do. And I'm not gonna say I think. He didn't allow me to do what I wanted to do because I'm short. I'm 5 feet tall, and I wanted to do hurdles and high jump. He wanted me to be a sprinter. So I did that for 1 year, but I did play basketball for 4 years. I was just like an average player. I was like the glue of the team captain, my junior and senior year, and then and then I still continue bowling.
Okay.
And then in high school I didn't do sports. I was just a student and worked a lot of campus jobs. And then it wasn't until my first year of teaching when I was like really stressed out. And I was talking to my mentor, and she was like, you need to have hobbies outside of teaching so you don't make this your life. So I started going to the gym.
Okay.
And personal trainer like put me on a workout regimen. And then as I was going to the gym, I saw one of the trainers there, or actually she was a manager. I saw her body transform. And like she gained like muscle mass, but it was like feminine muscle mass.
Right.
So I was like, I wonder how she, got that way. So, I approached her, I asked her, she told me that she did figure competitions. It's under the bodybuilding umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
And she's telling me you have to wear a 2-piece bikini, and I'm like, no. She's telling me she has to wear high heels and makeup, and I'm like,
that is complete opposite what a tomboy wants.
Exactly. I'm like, oh no, this isn't good. Like, I love the transformation and everything else she was talking about, but all that other stuff, I'm like, oh gosh. But I did end up training for a show. And like I reached out to coach, and I actually trained for a show. It was the most awkward thing that I've ever done. My posing coach even had me vacuum in my heels to get used to it, because I was not a heel
So,
person.
okay, that's what I was gonna say. So you're just not someone who just regularly walks in heels.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope. So yeah, and then I started wearing wigs, because I was going to wear wigs on stage. So I had to get comfortable, wearing wigs in my everyday life. And then like every now and then, if I go out, I would like put on makeup. When I tell you I am a tomboy, I am a hardcore tomboy.
Well, look, here's the thing. So what about the people around you that normally know you, to kind of seeing you now doing all that stuff, kind of going like, okay, what's going on?
Oh, they were floored. They were like, tell me when the show is. I'm coming with my camera. I'm taking pictures. Even my mom, she was like, what? What? And just a backstory. So my biggest fear out of everything was going on stage wearing a two-piece bikini. When I was in 8th grade, I hung out with some friends, and one of my friends was having a pool party, and we all went shopping for bathing suits. Well, she convinced me to buy a two-piece. She's like, your body looks nice, you should wear a two-piece, whatever. So I let her talk me into getting a two-piece. Eric, I wore that two-piece to that pool party. I went off the diving board. I came back up. I didn't have no top on. Didn't even know. Didn't even know. And I remember a boy, Lamar, I'll never forget, Lamar Harvey, ran up to me, pointed right at my chest, and just started laughing hysterically. And I looked down, and I'm like, I have no top on. And I ran back and jumped in the pool.
So again, I can't relate, but I'm thinking like, so you didn't feel it come off or anything? You just dove in and just came back up?
Nope.
Oh,
I didn't. I don't know why, but I didn't. But yeah, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, and then you just put the young boy. Well, he's not a young boy; he's probably a man now. Put him on blast. So if you're listening, she's kind of saying, "How you like me now?"
Exactly. So I had to get over that fear of going on stage and having people like staring at you who you don't know. So it was a lot, but I did a couple of shows before my Target show, just to get used to it. And I mean, even at the last show that I did that following year, I mean, I still looked awkward, but not as much. But I was good at it. I ended up coming like in top 3 that year. And then my final show, like I won the overall for Delaware.
Okay.
And then, so the following year I continued, but I went and reached out to a professional coach. And then I started doing, what do they call those shows? Let me see, I was amateur. I started doing national shows. That's what it was. National shows where you're traveling to Vegas, Chicago, New York, Florida. You have an opportunity to get your pro card. And
wait a minute. I'm sorry. So you have a pro card for that?
Yeah.
When I get pro card, I think triathlete.
Yeah, you're considered a professional athlete if you get your pro card. Yep.
Okay.
And I mean, it's brutal. That, just in my opinion, my perspective, I can only speak for the female side of it and what I experienced, but it's really brutal. It doesn't matter. Like, you could be the best looking person on stage body wise and still not win because the judges never seen you before.
Wow.
So you got to travel to these different shows so the judges can see you and see you improving every time you do these shows. And then on top of that, and I'm gonna be honest, I lucked out with this. It's also about who your coach is. So if your coach is known, you have a better chance in getting your pro card or getting top 5 or whatever the case may be.
That sounds very stressful.
It is. Oh, it is. And it stressed me out. It stressed me out to the point where I started binge eating.
Oh, wow.
If it wasn't really about the placing, but if I didn't like what the judges told me, I would like do self-sabotage and like go back to the room and, eat all this junk food and all this other stuff. And then like, even when I go home, I would continue the cycle.
Oh,
And then I would punish myself by doing cardio. So I had a very unhealthy, I started having a very unhealthy relationship with food. And then on top of that, like from when I was like younger, I always had like a body image, I guess you could say like a disorder, because I always had an athletic build, and I used to get teased about it from more of men than girls or whatever. So it was like some of that was coming into play. So yeah, it was a very dark place for me those years that I competed. And I think it was like 2000, from 2005 to 2007, I competed. I took a break. I went back in 2009 to 2010, took a break. And then I did it again from 2015 to 2017. And honestly, I think God was like, I just need her to stop. How am I going to get her to stop?
mm-hmm.
All right, you're pregnant. Like
Oh,
2017, I got pregnant with my son, and I was like, all right, I'm done.
wow.
So yeah, like my hat goes off, because I know people that are in that industry now, or are trying to move into that industry, and I'm like, it's tough, but if you can do it, like, more power to you. Like I do share my story with them, just just so they know, like, this may happen, and if it happens, you're not crazy. It just may happen, and I'm here to help, kind of thing. But I don't miss that life. I miss the people that I met along that path.
Of
But
course.
I don't miss it at all.
Wow.
It wasn't for me.
Wow. I mean, that's just amazing. Again, the more I'm sitting here thinking about it, like I say, it's stressful. And, and I know there are people who do it regularly. And, you kind of think about, are they dealing with the same things that you've dealt with? And they're just sticking with it because it's something they want to do,
Mm-hmm.
but how is that really affecting them mentally?
Yeah.
So it's just something to really think about, because again, it's, like basically what you were telling about getting your pro card and stuff. Those are, things that I never even thought about. I thought it was just general competition. I didn't realize it was like a pro card,
Mm-hmm.
a pro associated with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the diet alone will make you want to beat somebody up. And then you have all that other added stress. So yeah.
Right. Well, then to add in, you're a teacher as well.
Yes.
So yeah, that's another level of stress added to that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as we kind of continue learning more about you, did you go directly into OCR from this?
Yes. After I had my son, I'm just a very competitive person with myself. And I was like, all right, what's going to be my next adventure? Like something that I can do, handle being a mom, handle being a competitive athlete, and it be healthy.
Okay.
That was my main thing. So in 2016, right? Yeah, 2016. Actually, before I got pregnant with my son, I did do a Spartan race with my best friend. She introduced Spartan races to me. But after I had my son, what I did was I started to form like an OCR group. It was just like a group of women. I would, help them train, and we would do Spartans, because I'm also a coach. I have a personal training certification.
Okay.
And then through doing the races with them, I was like, I need more than this. Like, I loved racing with them, but I was like, I need something for myself. This is more for them. I need something for me.
Right.
So in 2019, I started doing the competitive side of Spartan races, and I really wasn't training for it. I was just going, I was just going to the gym and just to see what it was like. And my first competitive race, I'll never forget, I was like in my age group, I was like 15 out of 16. And I wasn't upset about it because I was like, I didn't train for this. Like
Right.
I was just, just doing regular exercising and spin for my cardio. I wasn't really running. But there's an OCR group, and Marquette, he's part of an OCR group called Black Spartans. He had reached out to me, and he was like, if you're trying to be a little bit more serious about racing age group, like basically he can help me out. So he started sending me compromise runs, and I started doing them. And then I came to the realization, I was like, oh, I really gotta run. Like I can't be running 4 miles a week. Like I gotta like
But
really
yeah,
run.
this is the person that does not like running. See?
So yes, I started incorporating some running into my program, and then I think, let me see, that year my highest placing was 4th in my age group, and again, like I was happy with it. And then I told myself I was going to reach out to a coach, but then the pandemic happened in 2020.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't until last year after it was after my second Spartan race, I was like, I have to get a coach.
Right.
Because like I could do all my programming, but like I said before, if you give me an option to strength train or to run, I'm going to strength train.
that barbell just be calling you.
Exactly.
It's just calling you.
So yes, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so you said that competitive Spartan. So is there a huge difference between competitive Spartan and just regular Spartan?
Yes, so they have 3 categories. They have elite, which your pro athletes run. You
Right.
have competitive or age group, meaning that they separate you based on your age, and then you have open. And the difference is, like, when you run open, if you fail an obstacle, you don't have to do the 30 burpees.
Oh,
You
really?
can, but it's not really a big deal. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But if you do age group or elite and you fail an obstacle, you have to do it. And if you don't, they're gonna penalize you for it.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. So you learned something tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So as you're kind of improving with Spartan, have you kind of expanded that and done anything other than Spartan, any other type of OCR race?
Yeah, I've done Savage races, which I love. If I'm being truly honest, I prefer Savage over Spartan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the difference with the Savage races is that if you fail an obstacle, you can try it again.
Okay.
There's no burpee penalty. And then if you don't complete the obstacle, they just cut your band, or you turn in your band.
Okay, what's turning in your band? What does that mean?
So they give you a timing chip, and then they give you like another wristband.
Okay.
So if you say, for instance, it takes you, I don't know, 2 hours to do the Savage race, but you cross the finish line with your wristband, you're going to place higher than someone that may have finished in an hour and a half but has no wristband.
Oh, interesting.
So they reward obstacle completion over time.
Okay. So you have Spartan, you have Savage races, you have Tough Mudders. So how is that pretty much the same as other two, or is there some type of difference with it?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest, I don't know too much about Tough Mudder.
Okay.
And that's simply because Tough Mudder meaning mud.
But wait a minute, don't you have to jump over fire or go through, electrical wires or something in the other two?
Spartan is not that bad, and Savage is not that bad. No, I've been on YouTube and I've seen Tough Mudder races. I'm like, no, thank you, no thanks. That's too much mud. I mind a little bit of water and mud, but that's too much for me. That's when I have to be like, nah.
It's just a little mud.
No.
Look,
No.
Wait a minute. Now you were a tomboy.
You're right.
I played in the mud now.
I played in the mud too, but that's too much. Plus, I don't like to be wet when I run.
Yeah, that's not a good feeling. I ran races in the rain. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, and then you got mud caked on your shoes and all that. That's just no.
They will probably hose you down afterward.
Yes, that's fine.
But those are pretty much your main ones, right? As far as OCR, and I'm asking because I'm not that super familiar with OCR racing.
No, you're right. Yep, those are your main ones.
Okay, so where are you now as far as being an athlete? Are you still heavily competing in OCR, or are you looking at some other type of challenge?
So this will probably be my last year pursuing OCR as aggressive as I have. And what I mean aggressive, I mean like paying for training.
Okay.
I had a great year last year. Like I did like 17, 18 races, OCR races.
Okay.
All of them were not an A race. Like there's some races I just went and I just did those races with friends. Mm-hmm. All of my A races that I wanted to come in top 3, I came in top 3.
Okay.
So this year I want to challenge myself a little bit more. And then I want to move on to triathlons, duathlons. After that, we'll see.
Yes, duathlon. Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm going to leave with this great running base. I can't let it go to waste.
See how running comes back to you? See how running comes back?
Yes, you're right.
So you're going to have to develop a love for it.
Yes. Well, I will say this. I don't mind running in the trails. I don't mind. I can run all day, every day in the trails.
Okay.
It's the treadmill and the road that I'm like,
Well, listen, okay, if you have the trail, that means you can look at ultras.
Yeah, I've done an ultra before.
Well, see, there you go. You can kind of build upon the ultras then.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to be an avid ultra runner, but I checked it off my list. That was probably the dumbest thing I've ever done because I didn't train for it.
So the Javelina 100 is not in your future?
No. And that's partially because I do love challenges, but I have patella tendonitis in my left knee.
Oh, okay.
And I told my orthopedic doctor, I was like, I want lifelong wellness, and I don't ever want a needle to go into my body.
Yes. Completely understand.
Yeah, so that's part of the reason why, like, I stick with the short courses. But like, even when I did my ultra, I walked the first lap, and this was a Spartan ultra, so it wasn't just running. Like, I stopped and there was like 60 obstacles.
Okay.
But I walked the first lap, and then the second lap, it was like 90% walking and like 10% of jogging, because there was a point where it was like I had a headlamp on, but it was like pitch black. Mm-hmm. Nobody was near me, and I was like, I'm just gonna run until I see people. And that's just what I did.
Do you see another headlight?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was a lonely. I think I ran like a mile, mm-hmm. a mile and a half by myself before I saw people. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's kind of flip it over a little bit and kind of just
Okay.
talk about training. You know, what does a day or a week in Cardi's life in regards to training look like?
So, and this is one thing I love about my coach. He's very consistent.
Okay.
It's very routine, which I love. But Monday is always like a recovery run. It could be anywhere between like 3 to 7 miles. It just really depends on where I am with training.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also do strength training. So I'll run in the morning and then I do strength training in the afternoon. And I know usually they say you're supposed to train first, do your weight training and then run. But for me personally, because I don't like to run, I have to do it first thing in the morning and reward myself with the strength training in the afternoon.
Right.
Tuesdays is usually some type of hard effort day. And it's like a tempo run, or it could be something with elevation gain, no strength training. Wednesday is either a rest day or a cross training day, which I'll cycle, I'll get on the assault bike, I'll get on the rower. And then I also pair that with yoga.
Okay.
So I do yoga at least, one time a week. Thursday is always my midweek long run. And again, that could be anywhere between like 40 to 70 minutes. That's more like, so on Thursday, my midweek long run, it's more about time on feet, not mileage.
Okay.
And then also strength training in the evening. Fridays is another, I guess you could say like a recovery run, something short, like 2 to 3 miles to get me ready for Saturday. Saturday is always my longest effort. And that could be like right now, since I'm base building, it could be run for 90 minutes or run for 90 minutes, or when the season starts, it'll be a compromise run where I have to run and stop and do some type of calisthenics or something, and then, and continue running. And then Sunday is a complete rest day, but sometimes I will use that and do another day of yoga.
Okay. It's still a rest day. It's more kind of recovery and relaxing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Even though, it seems like it was long ago, but it was only yesterday. 2020, the pandemic, did that change or affect your training in any way?
Honestly, I overtrained.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I overtrained. In 2020, after the world shut down in March, as a teacher, well, I'm a physical education teacher.
Okay.
So what ended up happening was we got thrown to the wayside, meaning like the teachers were teaching, but I really wasn't doing anything with the kids, like not much.
Right.
So I was like, all right, what am I going to do with my time? And I was working out a lot.
Okay.
And I didn't want to get injured. So in July, I reached out to one of my friends, George. He does triathlons. I reached out to him. I was like, I need a bike. I need to start cycling so I don't like injure myself from, lifting weights and running or whatever. And I went and made, an investment and bought a Cervelo. Yeah, Cervelo. Yeah.
Oh, you went.
Oh, yeah, I did, yes. And I started out cycling like 20 miles a week. And then it got to the point where like I was up to like 50, 60, 70 miles a week.
Okay.
And I was listening to this OCR podcast, and one of the it was Running Public. Yeah, I was listening to Running Public, and one of the hosts was talking about how he did this century ride. And I was like, oh, there's no races.
Right.
I got a plan to do a century ride. So a couple of my OCR friends, we were all, we talked about doing a century ride. And a couple, one of them did it with a group, someone did it solo, and I was like, I'm gonna do this solo. So to be honest, I didn't quite fully map out my century ride. I just knew, and this is how I, like Eric, this is how I am. I'm so like go with the flow type person, like really. But I surround myself with people that are like highly organized. Like I knew, so I was gonna start from my house and come back to my house. That's the only thing I knew, like for sure. And what clothes I was gonna wear. But I went out, I did a 60-mile loop, and it was more like, well, let me turn here and let me turn there. And let's look down and see how many miles I have so far. Oh, we're at 30. All right, let's turn around and go back home. Came back home, changed, ate, refueled, went back out. And I was like, all right, I got 40 miles. This ain't nothing. I just did 60. Yo, those 40 miles was like watching paint dry. I kid you not. It was the longest 40 miles I've ever done. And I mean, I've done rides where it was like 50, 60 miles, not a problem. But after you do 60 miles and then you have to go do 40, I was stopping. More stops that time. I ran out of fuel. Luckily, I had like my credit card and my ID and stuff, and I went into a gas station and got more Gatorade or whatever.
Right.
And I had 10 miles left. I kid you not, I had 10 miles left, and it started pouring down raining.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Matter of fact, when I saw the storm clouds, I was like, should I call my mom and have her pick me up from where I'm at? Or let me just ride this wave out. Let's see what happens.
I can make it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And the last 10 miles I did in the rain. And I kid you not, as soon as I got home, it stopped raining.
Of course. That's the way it always works. That is the way it always works. I can tell you so many races I've been to, the entire time it's raining. As soon as it gets near as soon as I finish the race, oh yeah, the sun wants to come out. Clouds break.
Yes.
All the time. So
yes.
I
was like, Mother Nature, you are so disrespectful. That was so disrespectful. So yeah, so I did that in August. I did a solo century ride in 2020. And then in October, I did a group century ride.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was a little bit more challenging. It was more elevation. The century ride I did solo because Delaware is very flat. The century ride that I did, the century ride that I did in Delaware, I maybe got 1,000 feet of elevation. And the one that I did in PA with my two friends, Brian and Jay, we got like 3,500 feet of elevation.
Oh yeah, that is a significant amount.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So during the pandemic, I just try to come up with, different challenges to keep me occupied. And then I did a trail race. It was a 5K trail race, and I actually won my age group. I was shocked.
Why were you shocked?
Well, at that time I was like, I'm not a runner. I'm just running, I'm just doing this race just to keep myself occupied. And then when they said, first place, what was it, 35 to 39, Charmaine Davis, I was like, what? Whoa, what? Huh? That was my reaction.
Your reaction was like the devil was like, not my name. You're not calling my name.
Really. But what I found out at that race was a lot of the women that were there were road racers. Yeah.
A lot of times I see when people try to make that immediate transition from road to trail, and if you're not used to riding trail, I generally see a lot of them, they either get extremely slow or they fall down a lot.
Yep. And that's just that's what happened. I remember a couple of women. They were like, and that hill, and did you see when we had to jump? And I'm like, this is nothing compared to the terrain I got to do for Spartan.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and that's when I found out they were road racers. I was like, oh, you guys are used to the road. I was like, yeah, I run this all year.
Yeah, because I remember when I started trying to add trail running into my routine. Whereas with the road you just look straight ahead, and with trails you really have to pay attention to what's right in front of you to kind of see what type of terrain you're gonna be running on, and knowing how to adjust. Versus whereas you're on a flat road, is that unless you're coming up on like a curve or a crack in the road, you just like, okay, straightforward, just go boom.
Yeah.
Find the finish line. Whereas you got rocks, roots, dirt, leaves, sand, everything.
Yeah. I call them snipers, by the way. They're snipers.
Sniper. Okay, I got to remember that one. Okay, as an athlete, how do you find balance, in your life? How do you find your balance? How do you find your calm, and still, be competitive and be able to challenge yourself?
So, like I said before, just circling back to when I used to do the fitness competitions, and just growing up with like just low self-esteem. The one thing that helped me this year being competitive is that I started meditating.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yes. And I got into meditating. The owner at my CrossFit gym during the pandemic, he started meditating. And he would share on Facebook like his experience and what it did for him and all this other stuff. And I was like, I want that. I want that. So I started out meditating like 5 minutes out the day. And then, I increased it. But like during my season, my gosh, I know I didn't start in January. It was probably like February, March. Like I started out with 15 minutes in the morning, and then sometimes I would, meditate at night. And during races, like it was part of my pre-race routine, and I would meditate anywhere from 15 minutes to a half an hour before getting ready for a race. So yeah, meditation has really helped. And then someone I follow on IG, he had posted something like replacing habits, and it was like, instead of watching TV, listen to a podcast. Instead of doing this, do that. And I actually challenged myself, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it for 30 days and see what happens. And then 30 days turned into 7 months.
Nice.
Yeah, and I mean, like even now, like I was telling you before, like I listened to like a lot of your podcasts, prior, but like even now, like when I go run or if I'm cleaning around the house or whatever, I'll put on a podcast.
Yes. Well, one of the things that I always tell people is that, you have to look at how you're wasting time throughout the day. And you waste a lot of time doing things that, aren't, for lack of a better term, productive.
Yep.
Productive for you as far as it could be your professional growth, your personal growth, your health. And like with me, one of the things, I used to watch a lot of TV, get up, come off work, sit down in front of the TV. And, so then, and I had to learn to kind of start, saying, okay, if I can sit down and watch TV, I can go to the gym and work out.
There you go. Yep.
For, at least 30 minutes or an hour. If I can sit down and watch TV, I can spend, an hour reading a book. So it's those types of things that, changing habits. And like you were saying before, it's just making slight changes, that can help improve your life.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, like now, I mean, and this happened like a while ago, but my son, he's 3.5. We meditate. Now for him, meditation is 2 minutes because that's
That's what I was gonna say. If you can get 2 minutes out of him, that's good.
Yeah, but he knows like when he wakes up in the morning and after he eats or whatever, he's like, "Mommy, are we gonna meditate?" And even though I've already done my session, like we'll do a couple minutes for him. But so yeah, it's like he's seeing the routines that I have picked up
Yes.
that are healthy for both of us. But yeah, I think now the only time I really watch TV is if I'm watching Batman, and that's because of my son, because that's what he's into.
Does he try to work out with you?
Oh, he does. Yes.
Okay.
My son has a slam ball, a kettlebell, a barbell.
All right.
I just got him like a stationary bike.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And he has he has weights. Yep.
Nice.
And I don't force it. So if I'm working out, like especially like if it's in the morning or whatever, or even at night, and he comes down there and he sees me work out, he makes the choice to work out. Like I don't make him do anything.
Yes.
I let him lead.
Well, he's seeing a positive image. That's why. Yes, he's seeing mommy work out, but that's a positive image. Mommy's taking care of her health. He might not fully understand that.
Yeah.
But it's a good practice that he's learning.
Yeah. And he'll do yoga with me for a while too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right, this is a 2-part question here. All right, your proudest moment as an athlete, and then your worst moment or biggest mistake you made as an athlete.
Okay. My proudest moment was July of last year. I did the Palmerton Sprint. It was my first like mountain race.
Okay.
And I felt really good about it. I just have to talk about this part of the race. So it's a 5K race, Blue Mountain, PA, Poconos, and the first mile is a climb. Now it took me 20 minutes to get up there. I was probably the second to last person up that climb, so that was a mile climb up. We went through the race. It was the last descend, and I flew down the descend because I'm really good at descending. I flew down the descend, forgetting that there was still a sandbag carry.
Oh.
I got down to the bottom. I turned the corner. I stopped dead in my tracks. I was like, oh my gosh. Not only was it a sandbag carry, it was on a hill.
And how heavy was the sandbag?
The sandbags are like, 50, 60 pounds maybe for women. Somewhere between 40 and 60, I would say, pounds.
Up a hill?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, so I've never felt like I was in slow motion in my life. I put the sandbag on, and I didn't stop, but I'm taking these little steps. I'm turning around, walking backwards with the sandbag. I'm walking sideways. I'm just like, the pain is just too much in my quads, my glutes, everything. But anyway, that was probably the longest sandbag carry I've ever done. After that, it was probably like less than half a mile left of the race. Fire jump. I immediately ran over to the results, which I usually don't do. I usually wait, but I just immediately ran over to the results because I was like, if I messed up this race because of the sandbag carry, I'm going to be pissed. And I go over to the results, and I actually came in second place in my age group, and I never screamed so loud in my life. Never screamed so loud in my life. But yeah, that's my most proudest moment, because like, even though I did something so foolish, I was still able to like gather myself, get myself together, and come in second place. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Now, the
All right.
second part, the most foolish thing that I've ever done, and I'll never do it again, was I did a Spartan Ultra without proper training.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll never do that again. I'm not saying I'll never do an Ultra again.
Right.
I just
You
have to
never
make
do
sure
it without training. Without proper training.
yeah, exactly. Yes, that was the most hurtful race ever. And what made it so bad, it wasn't the fact that it was an ultra. It was the fact that it rained from the time I was at the starting line at 6:30 a.m. until about 5:30, 6 o'clock
In
in the evening. Yes, it took me 12 hours to complete that ultra.
Wow.
12 hours. Yes. Yes. That, oh my gosh. Like, there were parts I was like, I didn't train for this. Why not wait for one of those carts to come scoot me back, to come get me? Like, I would go past the volunteer table, like, should I tell them I'm gonna just stay with them until they come cart them off? Like, seriously, I had that moment, and I'll never forget. It was like at mile 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I was approaching a water station, and sometimes the volunteers, like, they'll have music. And my son's favorite song came on, Old Town Road by Lil Nas X.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I heard that song, I started bawling. I'm like crying. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't quit. I want to go home and tell my son that I quit. And at this time, my son is 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's 2. But I'm like, no, I got to finish this. So I had my little pity party for like a couple of minutes.
Right.
I got myself together and I finished, the rest of the race. But yeah, like, I don't even think I jumped over the fire. I think I walked over.
Okay.
I think I just walked through the fire. Like, seriously. Like, I was a zombie.
Right.
I don't, and
Bet you
then
were.
yeah, and then our medals weren't even at the finish line. We had to walk around to get our buckles. So
I'd be pissed. I'm like, yo, it's been 12 hours. Please meet me at the finish line.
yes. But all that happened, and I came in 3rd place in my age group.
Okay, so there was some positive out of that.
Yes, there definitely was. I had 7 women in my age group,
Mm-hmm.
and 4 of them didn't finish.
Okay.
So I was like, wow. It took me 12 hours to do that ultra.
3rd place is 3rd place.
It is, but I was just like, Cardi, that is the dumbest thing you've ever done. Don't ever do something like that again.
Look, placement is placement. It does not matter how many people.
You're right.
Unless you go tell people, yeah, 7 people and 4 others didn't finish. So that's how I got 3rd place. So as long as you don't tell people that, you're okay.
Okay. Oh God, I still think it's crazy that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Just make sure you train for it next time.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Oh, I would never do that again.
All right. So you're going back in the time machine right now. What would you tell your younger self? I know one thing I would say.
Train for the ultra. No.
Tell your younger self. I'm like, don't buy that 2-piece.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
There you go.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Don't listen to Ranita and buy that 2-piece. Stay in your lane. No, but honestly, what I would tell my younger self is that don't be scared to be a leader. You're a natural born leader. Don't be scared to be a leader.
Yes, good. That is good advice, just in general for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, what is a non-athletic fact about you that most people don't know?
Ooh. That I'm deep down inside, I'm truly an introvert. I'm not an extrovert like people think I am.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I would not have gotten that from you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
You're truly an introvert.
Yes. If I had it my way, I would never share my race schedule with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I would always travel by myself, and I would work out and run by myself all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just enjoy your own peace, your own, just you.
Yes.
I can relate, and again, I completely understand. All right. So what's next for you? Are you training now for something? You getting ready for anything in the future?
So I am right now, to be honest, I'm base building. I don't know what my first Spartan race is going to be. I'm waiting for them to like release the schedule.
Okay.
However, I am going to Austin, Texas this weekend, and I'm doing a DecaFit race. It's under the Spartan umbrella, but it's not obstacle course racing. It's functional fitness.
Oh, okay. That sounds interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I didn't. To be honest, I didn't train for it, but it's not like the ultra. It's not going to have a.
Are we seeing a pattern here?
Yes. But just with like the everyday stuff that I do, like I'll be able to survive.
Okay.
But yeah, like they have the championships in November. So I'm going to this event so I can try to qualify and be done with it and not have to really train for it until like late fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You got any last words you want to share with our listeners?
Yes. I know women typically don't tell their age, but I don't care. But I'm 41 years old. I'm a mother, a full-time mother, and for anyone that think they're like too old, failed, as far as them wanting to try something different or try something new, you're never too old. You're never
Right.
too old. You just have to do your research and link up with the people to get to where you want to be.
Yes,
Like,
definitely.
yeah, like I know one of the things that I focus on is I try to rip my friends off the couch or out of their comfort zone and do Spartans all the time. And that's one of the things they say, like, oh, I'm too old, I don't know. And I'm like, I can get you right. Just listen to what I tell you to do and you'll be fine. So yeah. And like I said before, like I really don't like running that much, but in the field that I'm in, it's 70% running and 30% strength. So
Yep. That's excellent advice. Excellent advice. Cardi, thank you for coming on the show.
oh, thank you for having me. I'm pretty sure I entertained you.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So if anybody wanted to get in contact with you or follow you online, how can they do so?
On IG, I'm Williams Fit Mom. And then on Facebook, I am Cardi Davis. So yeah, those are the two social media avenues that you can follow me from.
Awesome. Again, Cardi, thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. You have a good evening.
Yep, you too.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the No Gimmicks, Just Sweat podcast. We really appreciate everyone who tunes in each week. If you enjoyed today's show, please support us by subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember to tell your friends about the No Gimmicks, Just Sweat podcast, so we can continue to have awesome conversations with everyday athletes just like you. Until next time, have an amazing week.